Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are in the world today, I hope that you and your loved ones are in good health. Hope that life is treating you well. And most importantly, I hope that you and your family are in good health. Once again, welcome to the Common Sense channel. On this channel, as I've always said, we get to discuss these things that people know, that people have thought about, but don't often have the time to discuss. These, my friends, are the things we talk about here on the Common Sense channel. So once again, my friends, welcome to the Common Sense channel. Today, I want to focus on political ideology. And I want to be able to show the similarity or the difference between political ideology and religious ideology or ideologies. There's not much difference between the two, but they are quite similar. And I want to say this as a disclaimer. This is not to make anyone feel that I'm attacking them or trying to say anything about them that are not true. These, whatever I'm saying here, are strictly from my mind. And I'm just trying to, again, educate people, inform them. Because there are a lot of things that we were told about these things, or that we don't understand about how these things function and how we are brought into the fold as human beings. We just see them happening. We just see things happening, but we don't really know how they happen. So on the Common Sense channel, we kind of look at these things and try to explain them from a common sense perspective. So today we're going to look at political ideology, and we're going to look at it as a social construct. I want to say this. None of us are born with an ideology. None of us. No human being come into this world with an ideology. But those who are running the social engineerings of our society, they socially construct this ideology. I can almost tell you that they are remotely engineering humanity from the outside. It's almost like the puppet master without you even knowing. And by the time I finish this video, you will see how it works. And that's what we do here on the Common Sense channel. We look at these things for what they are, and we try to talk about them. Because until you understand the enemy is real. The enemies, maybe this is deep. Sometimes when I sit and think about them, I think about how we are paying against each other. And sometimes we don't even know the forces that are driving these things. You will never see them. That's the saddest thing. You will never know the names, but they are in the making, socially constructing the way we see ourselves, the way we see our community, the way we see one another. And we are human beings, we are gods, and we ought to live with each other in peace and harmony. No one in any form should be able to construct the way we engage each other with a form of ideology that are divisive, that are damaging, that are destructive, that are that are just dangerous and you don't even know it. So, for our topic today, we're going to focus on political ideology. On my channel, I kind of talk about religion too. But religion is, if anything that has ever divided the human race, religion is the bedrock for the most of the division that we are seeing in our world today. And political ideology is just the second in motion of all of it. But it spawned political ideology, or ideologies are spun from political functioning, political event, and political social construct. All of these are spun from religious ideology. Again, religion is not bad. You understand? I often say nothing in life is bad. Everything starts with good intention. Everything starts with good intention. What makes things bad or not healthy for society is when it is in the hands of the wrong people, or people with malicious thought, or people who do not mean society good intention. So, like I said, none of us are born with any ideology or ideologist, whether they are political ideologies or religious ideologies. But when we are born, our parents introduce these things to us by way of how they were socially constructed. Every one of us know that there are families that vote certain ways, and they've been doing that from one generation to another. And then all of a sudden, a child comes into that family, and the child says, "No, I don't see things the way you see them. This is how I see them. And this is how I think I should be thinking." And then the parents say, "No, we've always thought this way. That's who we are." Now, how did that happen? The people that are constructing these ideologies, they are not even in the home. They are not in your home. Just like religion. No one is born any of these religion or religious denomination. But once you come into this world, your family, by way of your family, you're introduced to these things. And I know people who have waken up to the reality that either one of these ideologies, whether political ideologies or religious ideologies, are not healthy to them. And they decided to stray away from it. And this is the saddest part, or this is the saddest reality, that some of these people are even ostracized from their family just because they don't think the way the parents want them to think, or the way the parents want them to go, or the ideologies that the parents want them to believe on. And this, my friend, is what dividing our world today. And you see it, and it's happening. And it's happening right in your face. An ideology that will make someone abandon their own children because they don't believe in the ideology that they want them to believe. That's not a good ideology. You know, the reason why I say religion is an ideology instead of it, I can say like it's a good thing for humanity, for morality. I can equate religion with morality, but I didn't even say that. I say it's an ideology because an ideology is almost a form, not even almost, it's a form of indoctrination. You understand? What is an indoctrination? An indoctrination is when someone take what they believe in their head and insert it into your head. And that's what our parents do, whether we know it or not. And when you tell them that you parents are the God for their children, and they don't even know it. You understand? Whenever you impact your child that way, because no one is born with any of these things. No one is born with a denomination, you know? And that person grew up thinking, this is what my mom and dad have always done. This is how they think. So therefore, I should think that way. I should behave that way. This is how I see the world. That, my friend, is called indoctrination. You've been indoctrinated and you've been programmed. So you see, so once you get out of that home with that indoctrination, the rest of your full indoctrination is already being completed. Whoever is socially and culturally and religiously and politically constructing society would easily find it less difficult to finish the job. So whether it's in the program houses, whether it's in universities, whether it's in social club, whether it's in a political affiliation, whatever it is you want to call it, the job has already been done for them in the home. So how can you have a world where people are not politically indoctrinated? And in some other countries, I'm not going to name them on this video, but you can almost tell who I'm talking about. They have one political system. Most time people don't know why people in some countries have one political system, but they brandish them as a dictatorship or a totalitarianism. But if you have one political system, there are pros and cons for that too. And the pros for having a one ideology is for everyone to think in the same direction. If you ask me, I don't think it's the right way because human beings are not engineered that way. We're engineered to be diversified in our thoughts. And the way we are diversified in our thoughts is the way we see the world. How we see the world is how we approach it. But political ideology, whether if it's in a one system, multiple system, or multicultural system, all it does is it divides the people. And sometimes when I look and I see these things, it makes me angry to have so much division. Like for instance, you have religion. If religion is thinking as one, just like how you have one political system and you have one religious system, right? It's more unifying than if you have multiple religious or political system. So you see what I'm saying? If you have a unified political system, it's more unifying because people can just coalesce. Okay, let's say, for example, you say the political system that you want to create is called Americanism. So all you people see is American. Americanism. You don't see yourself as conservatism. You don't see yourself as conservative. You don't see yourself as liberal. You don't see yourself as independent. You don't see yourself as libertarian. You don't see yourself as anything. What you see yourself as is American, an American. So that's the goal. That's where you focus. And I think that's where you should be, because guess what? At the end of everything, when you leave this world, that's what people are going to call you American. People are not going to pay attention to any of these political ideologies. So you see, when you have all these political ideologies, right, all it does is it divides the people, just like religion. If you look at religion, you have multiple denominations. All it does is confusion. The reason why I'm doing this video is to show you that these things, these ideologies, all they are doing is polluting you. These are social construct by whoever is trying to control your mind to make you confused. And that all it's doing is confusing you. You see people unliving other human beings just on ideologies. And all of this stuff begins in the home. I did a video, and in that video I said, the Garden of Eden is actually in the home. You don't need to look nowhere. In the home is the beginning, it's the genesis of any human species. Look, whatever comes out of that home, whatever ideology comes out of that home, that's what the world sees. So if you have ideology that's neutral, that comes out of that home, that's what the world is going to receive. You know, some people choose not to be religious in their home. It's a good thing, because that way your mind is free. Some family choose not to be have political affiliation or ideologies in their home, to have an independent mindset. It makes you free. It makes you a free agent. You don't have to be you don't have to cater to no ideology. You're free-minded. It allows you to think. So when someone comes out with one political ideology, all it does is it unites the people under that one umbrella. Say, for example, all of these religious denominations, the mother church for all of them, I'm not saying I'm not a fan of religion, but I'm just saying facts. The mother church for all of them, I'm not talking about other teachings before organized religion. The mother of all organized religion in this world, that including Islam, is Catholicism. Whether you like it or not, it's Catholicism. Constantine was able to infuse paganism and the teachings of Paul to come up with something we call today Christianity. Unite two groups of thinking and create one. Why would Constantine do that? Because Constantine knows when every minds are fixated on one ideology, it's easier for you to control the thinking of the community, the society, the country, and the world. Some people see it as bad, but when everyone is focused on one ideology, there is more unity in it than having multiple ideology. Is confusing. So when you look at religion today, whose main base or foundation came out of Catholicism, created so much confusion, so much division. And if you look at all of them, whether it's Methodist, Baptist, Episcopalian, Lutheran, um, the one that non-denominational, independent church, corner store, denomination, program houses. All of them are program houses. So if you look at all of these ideologies, because that's what they are, all of them are ideologies. If you look at all of them, right, they are nothing but confusion, because if you go to Methodists, they worship different. You go to Baptists, they worship different. But if you look at all of them, you ask them, all of you that are doing all of this, what is God thinking about all of you? Is God multiple or is God one? I say God for the sake of my video, but I don't say God, because all of these denominations, right? They are all worshiping multiple gods, whether they like it or not. Is true. Because if God is one, then you shouldn't have all of this division. And that's the thing Constantine understood. Constantine, the Roman Empire, if you don't know who he was, Constantine was the Roman, he was a general, he became an empire. I can say he's a god. You understand? And he saw all this division, the same division we have today, because they were, in the Roman Empire, they were pagan. Most Gentiles are pagans. So he said, okay, well, let me do this where these people can be happy and these people over here, poor people, can be happy, because Jesus was never part of none of that stuff. Jesus hated authority. He was a rebellious person. That's true. Peter showed it. You understand? Although sometimes they try to make it look like Peter was a violent person, but that's exactly what Jesus was. Jesus wasn't having that with authority. You understand? But Paul, again, he was more with the authority. And you see a lot of preacher men like that today. They will dwell with the politician. They will hang out with them. So yeah, so Constantine was able to unite religion based on that. Bring all the division together and make them one. And that makes sense, because when everyone is thinking in the same direction, there's more unity, in that process than if you have division. So sometimes I think and say, on Sunday, which is not even a Sabbath day, you understand? I want to know what God, for the sake of my video, is doing on that day. How busy he is. Is he going from one church to another? Again, a he. The creator is not a he. But yeah, for the sake of my video, I want to say this again. Is he going from one denomination to another, fellowshipping with them? Or is he just sitting in one place and watching all of them and just looking at them and say, oh, confusion, oh, confusion. And that's exactly what Constantine saw, that the people were divided. And in order for you to control them, you must unite them on the one direction. So people who socially are constructing ideology, political ideology, they also use the same method. And it's a big business, my friends. You see somebody would not have nothing to do with a child, just because the child is a conservative or think that way, and they are liberal, you see, right? And some person wouldn't have anything to do with their own father, because their father is a liberal. And the thing is, people cannot even see that. You can't see that these ideologies are doing. It's dividing you. That's what it's doing. It's not even uniting. So, like, people that are independent, especially for those of us that live in this country, this same concept happened all across the board, whether it's in this continent or in South America or in Europe or in Asia. Wherever you are in this world, it's the same thing. is so divisive. And now when you look at it, if say a war broke up, those people who are not aligned with any of these ideologies, where would they find themselves? How would they protect themselves without finding allies? You know? So that's what ideology has done to mankind. And I think political ideology, religious ideologies, is not healthy for us. It's not healthy for our world. It's not healthy for our society. It's not even healthy for our children because none of them are born knowing any of these things. I have children, they don't even know none of these things. And yet people will go out there and unlife another human being because they don't share the same ideology that they share. And then those who have constructed these ideologies are just sitting there and watching and saying, bravo, bravo, bravo. You understand? And they're making millions of dollars from this. God is not a spirit of confusion. I believe that God has nothing to do with the affairs of man. Yes, God has nothing to do with our affairs. The Creator has nothing to do with our affairs. Everything we're doing is just a bunch of confusion. And ideology, my friend, will do that, will confuse you. You watch people on social media, they're arguing over stuff. They're arguing over things that don't make no sense because someone has constructed the narrative and you're just flowing with it. And you don't even know it, that someone has socially constructed your thinking. And all you can do is what's the word? Emancipate yourself from all of that. You know, I did video in the past where I says that we are in a lab. Humans are actually in the lab. And if you ever been in the lab, if you ever conducted a research, whether in school or wherever you've done these research, you see you're looking at the subject. A researcher looks at the subject and the researchers manipulate the subject to make the subject do exactly what he or she wants it to do. That's exactly what these people are doing to you, my friends. And if you cannot see it, something is wrong. And that's what we look at, like on the Common Sense channel. That's what I look at. I look at these things. And once you see it, it makes you upset. And it makes you want to do something to free the mind of people. It's not easy. If your mind is built that way from birth, like I said, we'll come into this world in previous videos. We'll come into this world blank. Everything that we know and now in our life as we grow up to understand the self was taught to us by our parents. Our parents are our God. They are our gods. And they don't even know it. Whatever way they shaped us, that's the way we go until we ourselves discover who we are. And then we decide to stray away from that, whatever path they had taught us. And that's the story in the Garden of Eden. The so-called God in there had put these two innocent people, children, you come into this world. And he programmed them to think the way he wanted them to think. And then along the way, the wise one came. The wise one had no stake in it. He wasn't trying to hurt them. You understand? That's what parents do to the children. Your parents don't have no intention to hurt you. And that's what Satan was doing. Satan, that's what he was doing in the garden. He was that wise parents. And he was telling them the truth, teaching them knowledge. And then Whoever the God was said, no, you can't teach them knowledge. Have you ever seen the parents that don't want to teach their children what they need to know to survive? I've never seen a parent that does that. So whoever that God was in that garden was not a parent. That was the enemy. And then Satan came. Satan, the one that just say, look, whatever that guy told you, whatever your mom and dad told you, it's not true. When you do this, you become wise, you become knowledgeable. And guess what? When they did it, according to the story now, when they finally ate the knowledge, when they finally got knowledge, did they die? That's what happened. When you discover yourself, your parents look at you based on their own ideology, based on how they were socially programmed by whoever was that God somewhere. Again, the Garden of Eden that programmed them to stay that way. When you come into the fold, they want to program you that way. And when someone comes out that's knowledgeable and tell you the truth and you see it, when you move away, guess what? They'll abandon you. And that's what the God in that story, the book of Genesis, did to these two innocent people. That would be you that have come to the realization of who you are. And then your parents look at you and say, if you're not a Republican, you're not my son. If you're not a Republican, you're not my daughter. If you're not a Democrat, you're not my son. If you're not a Democrat, you're not my daughter. What will make a parent do that is what the so-called God in the Bible, in the Genesis story, in the beginning story, did to his own children. And you see our parents doing that today, all because of religious ideology and political ideologies. These are all the same. In fact, political ideology is the bedrock of religious ideology. Because out of religious ideology comes political ideologies. And this is the essence of this video. My thing is for us to start to reason, for us to start to see that all of these ideologies are not meant for our good. You understand? They are not meant to bring us together. You know, like in this country, I think the best thing you can be is to be an American. Whether you are white, you are black, you are Hispanic, you are immigrants, whatever you are, if you find yourself in this country and you love this country, wherever you're from, all you can be is an American. Forget about all these ideologies. They are not meant for your good. And that's why I'm doing this video. Doing this video so you can see these things, that they are nothing but divisive. They're dividing you. They are messing up with your mental state. They are messing up with your mind. And those people that constructed this, they are just sitting there watching you. And they are smiling, they are laughing, and they are happy. And when the wise one comes around that wants to teach you knowledge, because that whole Garden of Eden, Satan, who didn't do anything, was only representing knowledge. And whatever he told them was true. It's not like he lied. It's not like he told them if you eat that, you're going to die. He told them if you eat it, you're going to be like whoever your parents are. Your mom, you're going to be like your mom. You're going to be like your dad. And he was right. And when they ate, guess what? It'd be like God. They understood what God was like. They understood how he thinks or she thinks. You understand? So it's the same thing that keeps circling over and over. Now, you're not going to always agree with your parents. There are certain aspects of how they think you're gonna be like, no, I don't always. Not this one. I don't think so. And then you can move away from that. There's nothing wrong with it. And then some of them, if they're set in their ways, they're gonna say, "You're not my child. You're not my this. I don't want you around." You have an entire family so divided over stuff that they're not supposed to be divided over. They're supposed to be more united because a family is thicker than water, your blood. You shouldn't allow no one from the outside, whether religious ideology or political ideology, separate you from your loved ones. And it's the same thing in that Genesis story. When the wise one came, he taught them wisdom. He taught them knowledge of themselves. You understand? And their parents, who is God, because when the Spirit was speaking, the Spirit says, "Let us." So there are many gods that make the parents that made Adam and Eve, the second creation. There are many parents, maybe two parents, that created those children. When they saw that they were knowledgeable, guess what? They abandoned them. There are a lot of families that are doing that to their children over religious ideologies and political ideologies. What the common sense China is saying, you don't have to do that to your children. You should not do that to your children. Embrace them. You don't have to curse them. Like the parents in that story, Adam and Eve's story, curse his own children or her children. You don't have to do that over nonsense. Political ideology is not good for society. It's not healthy for society. It's more divisive than unifying. So, if you're out there, try to discover yourself. Listen to the wise one. Listen to wisdom and free your mind. Because look, once you free your mind of all these ideologies, look, you are going to start to understand freedom. Like right now with all of that stuff in your brains, with the program that that's on you now, right? You're not free. Once you abandon all of those ideologies, then you start to experience absolute freedom. You will see it. Try it. And then the world is going to be a peaceful, loving place. There's nothing wrong with thinking about issues that are very important to your well-being. But don't allow that issue to be divisive that will separate you from others, because you need other people to survive. You understand? You need other people's ideas to grow. So that's the essence of my video. Political, religious ideologies are not good for society, for a country, for a nation, for a people. Let's listen to the wise people. The wise one that came in that garden that taught them knowledge of themselves. And that's what Jesus was doing too. The same thing Satan was doing in that book, Genesis story, chapter 1 and 2. It's the same thing Jesus was doing. Satan came into the garden. He wasn't there to do anything but to teach them knowledge of themselves. That's what Yeshua Mashiach was doing when he came into the fold, was to teach them knowledge of themselves. No one can dispute that. And he told them, Satan told them, eat of the fruit and you'll be wise. Jesus told them, the kingdom of God, the knowledge of God and the knowledge of yourself is in you. Don't look nowhere. Satan told them, eat of knowledge and you grow knowledge. And you grow of knowledge. This information I'm telling you, gathered from nowhere, but from the minds of the ancestors. Once start to honor your ancestors, they are spirit. Now, they haven't gone nowhere. Let no one tell you they're in heaven or hell somewhere. It's a bloody lie. They, my friends, are here with you. They are here with us in the form of a spirit. So is the Almighty. And just watching you and guiding you to your destiny is that energy, that guiding your energies. As I've always said in all of my videos, the greatest thing, my friends, that can ever happen to you, it's not the day you're born. Because the day you're born, if you don't use it wisely, you're going to get caught up in this political and religious ideology. And you're going to leave us so soon when you have so much potential, you have so much gift to bless this world, our beautiful world, with. So when you discover yourself, you will be like Adam and Eve, or Lilith, and whoever that first person was in the first creation. You will discover yourself and you will be wise. And even if your parents say, get out of my house because you want to be a Democrat or a Republican, you will walk away and you will be free in your mind, because that's what you want to be, free. You want to be a free man so that when you leave this world, you will leave this world with no regret. And at some point, if your parents abandon you, you get it? They will come back and find you. Just like how the story said, when the children had sinned against God because they disobeyed his commandments, he still sent someone to get them back into the fold. So even if your parents let you go, understand, they will send someone. They will find a way to find you. And that's what that whole story is about. You just need to read it and open your mind and start to think. Ask the ancestors to show you. They will show you. You will be wise and you will understand mysteries. I want to thank all those people that have been watching my videos. I hope you're learning. And as I said, like if you have questions, comment, don't hesitate, my friends. I will be greatly excited to give your feedback. But I just see all what's happening to our world with all these things, this social construct. They are not doing us no good. When I say they, there are elements of our world that are constructing all of this. And they are just laughing at you when you are fussing and arguing with each other over a bunch of confusion. God is not a God of confusion. You know, you can have multiple denomination, multiple political ideologies and don't create division. All it does is it divides you. And there are countries in the world that understand it. And because of that, they just say, you know what, we're just going to have one political system. And everyone in this setting or in this country would subscribe to this. That's exactly what Emperor Constantine did. Unify the people that way. It's not bad. But when you have all these multiple ideologies all over the place, all it does is divide. And then someone can come out and say, you know, I don't like the way he thinks and what that. I want to do my own thing. And then when they go out on their own, they're doing something different, and then they're creating division. Now they have rivalry. Now they can't even talk to their own friends or their own brother or sister or their parents, all because of these ideologies. So once again, I want to thank everyone, especially those people that are subscribed to my channel. I love you. I honor you. I want to thank all those people that continue to watch my video. I love you. Thank you so much. I hope you're learning, because we have to emancipate our mind so we are free. The best thing that can happen to a man, as I said, when you discover yourself, but when you die a free person, not just free with the shackles, without shackles, but you're free in the mind. Because those people that are out there, all they're doing is causing you to hate each other, and they're causing you to create division amongst yourself. Those ones are your enemies, not your brothers and sisters. The ones that are constructing all of this division to make you to turn against your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad. These are your enemies. Thank you and have a blessed and pleasant day. Peace.